Welcome back to another special episode of the Educational AD Podcast. Before we get going, we want to acknowledge our podcast partners, We Coach and the Global Community of Women in High School Sports. These are two great organizations that you really need to be a part of. So check out We Coach and the Global Community of Women in High School Sports. And now let's hear from our podcast sponsors. We want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive indoor scoring tables and video boards. Their program not only generates income for your athletic department, but they also create the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and check out what their fantastic products can do for you. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to say thanks to Snap Mobile. Go to snapraise.com and check out their entire platform that's designed to help you as an athletic director do your job better. SnapRaise is the fundraising platform. They've helped schools just like yours raise over $700 million. They even have a program where you can get your funding before you actually start your fundraiser. Does anybody else have that? You can also check out Snap Spend, Snap Store, Snap Manage, and Snap Connect. You'll find it all at snapraise.com. That's snapraise.com. We also want to say thanks to Huddle. Go to huddle.com and find out how you can become one of the 200,000 schools that use Huddle to help their athletes perform better. Huddle has the tools to help your coaches, your athletes, your programs improve. And if you go to huddle.com, you're going to find a complete solution for the challenges you and your teams face. At Huddle, we believe in sports and teams believe in Huddle. Go to huddle.com and find out how your school can become a Huddle school. We also want to say thanks to Gipper. Go to gipper.com and see how athletic directors and coaches are creating world-class marketing content for their school's social media channel. You can do it in seconds on any device, and you don't need any design experience. Go to gipper.com, use the podcast code ADPOD10 and get 10% off. That's gipper.com. We also want to thank Hometown Ticketing. Hometown is the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. They're going to show you how to sell your tickets online. And every step of the way, you'll have a dedicated client success manager providing hands-on support. Hometown will also show you how to sell tickets for things like school dances, school plays and concerts, even graduation. You'll find it all at hometownticketing.com. We want to say thank you to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. They're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school's record boards for all your sports, for all the levels, or to show off your school's Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com and check out their interactive touchscreen consoles. They're going to help show the athletic achievements of your students throughout the generations. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. You can also email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. We want to say thank you to Final Forms, the industry leader in forms and registration, but they are so much more than that. Final Forms can help your stakeholders with things like mobile apps. They have reminders for parents about policies, about physicals, and all the forms that come when you have an athlete in the house. Final Forms can help your coaches with things like attendance and communication. And for athletic directors, Final Forms can help you with eligibility, with rosters, and all the reports that come across your desk. To take the next steps, go to finalforms.com/Jake. That's finalforms.com/Jake to get started with Final Forms. And we want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Athletic surveys are a quick, easy, and affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire athletic program. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack also connects you with the 95% of the kids and the parents who really love your program and helps demonstrate the importance that a positive athletic experience has for them. If you've never used a survey to connect with your parents or your student athletes, you're really missing out. Talk to the pros at Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack and let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. Hey, everyone. Welcome to this special edition of the Educational AD Podcast. We've got a true friend of the show, Dr. Mekia Troy. She is the athletic director at Creekside High School in Georgia, also a certified master athletic administrator, very active at the state and the national level. And she's part of our team here on this special series that we've started. So, Dr. Troy, what do you have for our listeners this week?
Hey, thanks for having me again, Jake. Well, sometimes we talk about or you hear thoughts on the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. When you walk into a gym, sometimes you might hear roars, you might hear cheering, you might hear yelling, you might hear some other things you don't need to hear. But either way, these are a variety of emotions that our fans, our coaches, parents, anyone that's around may be experiencing. And as an athletic administrator, it's important that we keep our emotions in check when we enter into those situations while everyone else might be on this emotional roller coaster. So I want to talk a little bit today about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to manage your own emotions and to have a perceptive understanding of the emotions of other people and how you should approach them as they're dealing with issues. So while you're getting better, there's a few strategies that I just wanted to recommend today, with the first being self-awareness, self-management. You got to be able to be aware of your own emotions. What is it that's a strength or weakness to you in a situation? What is it that makes you tick, or how can people push your buttons? You want to be able to recognize those things so that before it occurs, you can respond appropriately, thoughtfully, instead of just a thoughtless reaction, which a lot of times can get people into trouble. So you want to be aware of those things that can kind of trigger you to have a thoughtless emotional reaction. Self-management is a part of that, as you are learning to govern your own emotions and situations to maybe not respond in the way that you would have in the past, or not respond in the way that you would if you weren't in your particular role, because there are some different expectations, different standards that are on us as leaders, and we want to make sure that we are abiding by those standards instead of just, reacting or responding in a way that wouldn't be suitable for the athletic administrator. But you got to be aware of those things for yourself and be prepared to manage your own emotions when those challenging situations come to arise. The next part of that is social awareness. There's a very simple concept that it means a lot to me, and some people, I don't know how it goes over their heads, but it's just simply read the room. You just got to know what's going on in the environment around you. There may be noise and chaos, but it could be because when you walk in, you simply saw, oh, there was a controversial call made by an official that's got everybody, going crazy. But in that moment, you're able to read the room before you just react in an overbearing manner to say, why is everyone doing this or that? They're just having a natural reaction to something that they disagree with. And then you can approach or address anything that happens beyond that. But you want to make sure you're cognizant of what might have caused that particular emotion. Maybe a coach has made a decision that nobody agrees with, and it affects the outcome of a game. Well, you recognize that that's what has caused people to have the emotional reaction. So before you jump in and address it or approach it, you want to have that in your mind, that there's already something that's the root of what's going on. So when you address it, you can keep that in mind, that maybe people wouldn't normally behave in this manner, but there is something that's caused them to behave in that way. And then on a bigger scale, there could be some injustice that's gone on in our society that's had a ripple effect in your own community. Those things also impact people's emotions and how they react. And we as leaders need to be aware of those things and how they might affect our stakeholders, and keep that in mind as we're addressing them in their emotional state, and being mindful that we control our own emotions in dealing with them, so we can be respectful, hear their perspective, and respect their perspectives, even if we don't always see eye to eye. We should still be able to respectfully take in consideration what people are sharing and hear them out, because sometimes people just want to be heard, and a lot of times that's enough. Sometimes people speak and just them hearing themselves say it out loud will help them come to their own resolutions. And that'll help you as an athletic administrator to not have this immediate emotional reaction when sometimes folks can just hear themselves talk it out and realize that maybe they're doing a bit much. But there will be conflicts, and sometimes that's just a part of the job. And the way we manage our relationships within those conflicts will show our emotional intelligence as we deal with them. It happens, but it's not something that we should shy away from. One thing I think should motivate people is that if you do shy away from conflict, how many other people are being negatively impacted by the fact that you haven't addressed a situation? That alone should be enough to make you want to deal with whatever it may be, or to have that tough conversation that needs to be had to try to get to a resolution that makes things better for the vast majority of people that are involved. Those leaders with emotional intelligence are savvy at how they approach these conversations and know that they are addressing a situation and not attacking people. And there's a difference. And people have to be aware of how they do that in a way that it's not just their emotional reaction, but a more thoughtful response, and still addressing the root of the issue and not attacking people. You can still, you're still the leader. You can still make a decision that someone doesn't agree with, but you've given them your full consideration. You have allowed them to be heard, and you are using your influence to still maintain that relationship in a way that they can come back to you with future considerations that maybe you will consider later or think about later or apply. But maybe the timing is just not right for what the person wants. So it's okay to agree to disagree in a manner that's still respectful, to maintain the importance of that relationship, whether it be with a parent, a student athlete, or even one of your coaches, because sometimes those conflicts arise and those tough conversations, they do need to happen. Within the relationship aspect, I think it's also important to make sure you have a safe place to vent. Maybe there is another administrator, another coach, a friend, someone that you can vent to before you get into that crucial conversation, to just get it out. There are some things that you cannot say to people, but you want to get it off your chest so badly. And if that's the case, it's important to have a safe space to be able to get that out, get it off your chest, let it out, and then come into the situation to address the issue with your emotions in check, knowing that at least you've got it off your chest and you're able to say it, even if you couldn't say it to that person. I think it's interesting that when you walk around the national conference, there's so many vendors that offer like little squishy stress balls, just another opportunity to get it out before you take it out on someone else. But I think it's something that helps us control our emotions, just to know that, okay, you can't just jump down everybody's throat. You do have to control what it is that you're saying and how, in order to get the best response from everyone else. Because at the end of the day, that's what we want. You're not going to please everybody, but you do want to make sure you're approaching everyone with respect and being able to maintain your own emotions and understand the emotions of others and how you approach them.
Boy, as I listened to your presentation, as a basketball official, I think one of the single biggest ways that a school manages that, or a department, you can tell the ones that do, is the behavior of the coach. When that call happens, and it happens probably in just about any game, middle school, JV, or varsity, that, half of the gymnasium, thinks is the worst call in America, how that coach responds really lets you know where their heart and their head is with their sports program. If that coach just goes ballistic and starts, throwing their arms up and stomping and gesturing, that tells you exactly what their philosophy is. On the other hand, when those coaches just go on coaching and they're worrying about the next play and not that last play, the bench, the students, the parents, everybody just follows suit. And they, okay, well, the coach is going on with it. You can also tell how that athletic director is working their crowd. And I don't expect it to be a, a Sunday church service. There's going to be some emotion and some excitement, but just those types of outbursts, again, you can really tell how a program is focused.
That's for sure. We are leading by example, whatever that example is.
Yeah.
We are definitely leading by example.
Yeah. Dr. Troy, just a ton of great stuff in that message. If one of our listeners wanted to reach out, pick your brain a little bit more, what's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, I'm always going to check my email. That's Troy, for last name Troy, first initial M, Troy M at fultonschools.org. And I'm also active on Twitter. That's at Dr. Troy Me, DrTroyme.
Right. Dr. Mekia Troy, thanks so much for sharing with us today, and all the best as we continue to move on with 2023. Okay.
Thank you.
For listeners, remember the Zoom recordings of every interview get uploaded to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you listening today. Come back just about every day for new content on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. Once again, we want to thank all of our sponsors for their support. Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school's record boards or your Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. We want to say thanks to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and see how athletic directors are creating world-class marketing content for their school social media channel. Use the podcast code ADPOD10 and you'll get 10% off. That's Gipper.com. We want to thank Final Forms. They're the industry leader in forms and registration, but they are so much more than that. Go to finalforms.com/Jake to see what Final Forms can do for you, your stakeholders, your coaches, and for you as an athletic director. That's finalforms.com/Jake. We want to thank Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. They'll show you how to set up and start selling your tickets online. That's hometownticketing.com. We want to say thanks to Snap Mobile. Go to snapraise.com. Check out their entire suite of platforms. There's fundraising, of course, but there's also a lot more. That's snapraise.com. We also want to thank Huddle. Go to huddle.com. Check out how their analytics, their smart cameras, and all the tools that they have can help you turn your school into a Huddle school. Can 6 million users be wrong? Go to huddle.com for more information. We want to thank Sideline Interactive, indoor scoring tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. See how their products can not only raise income for your department, but also create the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. That's sidelineinteractive.com. And Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. It's a quick and easy way for you to collect data from your student athletes, your parents, and help make your program better. Go to athleticsurveys.com or email them at info@athleticsurveys.com for more information. Thanks for tuning in today. We're going to see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.